what will Copenhagen be for Africa? It will almost be irrelevant if agriculture is not really a major issue to be discussed in Copenhagen. But for Africa, it will be largely irrelevant, except for South Africa and probably for Egypt. There's virtually no industrial capacity on the continent. So I think my plea will be that a little bit more focus should be on disaggregation of some of these discussions. Thank you.
Well, I certainly would hope that that would be a part of the discussion in Copenhagen.
No, I think Dr. Mangam has made a very important point. After all, the first among the hierarchical needs of a human being is food and water security. If you don't have it, then everything else is gone. And that is the greatest threat from climate change. But may I also add in relation to the previous speaker, you know, you must have heard about the kingdom of Bhutan, the king of Bhutan said in relation to all the GDP, he said what we need is a gross national happiness. And that should replace, the GNH should replace GDP. And one of the very important components of the gross national happiness is the love and appreciation of nature and natural resources. So I think this whole mindset or the value system of the people which you have been explaining, unless it changes, whatever you may use a lot of jargon, but the fact remains that how do you bring about that kind of mindset change? That's where I think the king of Bhutan put his finger to the right. Let us divert the attention to the people. What do you want from this life? A happiness. And how do you achieve it? And that's a very fundamental question.
The footprint analysis, does it not indicate that in terms of renewable resources, we're using up, it takes 1.3 years to replace what we remove in a year? And that is absolutely unsustainable. And the question is why that doesn't strike fear on the part of the global community. I mean, it's just a shocking thing. And I wonder, you know, one of the analyses done many years ago is the problem is money doesn't stand for anything, and money can grow faster than real things. So that in British Columbia, our forests grow or add fiber at the rate of 2% a year. So you don't have to be a genius to know if you cut down less than 2% a year, you can log your forest forever. But what forester is going to do that? Clear cut the forest, take the money, put it in the bank, you can make 7 or 8%. Put it in fish and you may make 12%. Invest in Papua New Guinea, you could make 30%. I mean, money grows faster than real things, so there's no incentive to take that kind of footprint analysis seriously. Is that one of the problems?
And then suddenly money goes down, like in the United States, houses are worth 30% less, but there's still the same amount of houses.
Okay.
I'm just very surprised that nobody mentions, not this morning, not this afternoon, that we should all go back, of course, to a much more simple life, but we should move towards a plant-based diet. Livestock is causing over 50% of greenhouse gas emissions, and nobody seems to mention that. Livestock is causing starvation because we use 40% of all cereals grown in the world to feed to cattle, and we have nearly a billion of people who are hungry. It just doesn't make sense. Livestock raising uses so much water, so much food, that we should use differently. We cannot continue to deplete the planet. We deplete the oceans by overfishing. We deplete the planets by livestock raising. We have to change our way of life. And we don't have 40 or 50 years left. I'm astonished that people say by 2040 we will cut emissions by so and so much. We don't have till 2040. We have just a few years left before we reach the point of no return. And that doesn't seem to be sinking in.
This wasn't meant to be the definitive statement on every single problem that we're facing, but yeah, there was a lady at the back.
Thank you. I'm Alexandra Vandela. I work with the World Future Council. The World Future Council brings together 50 eminent persons from around the world, and the mission is to be a voice for future generations. And I'm very grateful for the discussion that we are having, and I want to strongly also support the statement that was made beforehand in terms of that the elephant in the room is the issue of growth and how we actually measure progress, and that the whole discussion about gross domestic product, and that there are actually interesting models already. The Bhutanese model was mentioned, where there is the Bhutanese happiness measure, and that is really an issue that has to be taken up with governments. How do we measure progress? Because we all know that GDP is a flawed way of measuring progress. If there's going to be increased longing, increased sicknesses, more death, it's all leading to increased GDP. So how can we use this as a basis for measuring progress? So now that we are having increasingly more and more crises accumulating, the financial crisis, the climate crisis, the food crisis, the water crisis, it is the time for change. It's time for also working towards a more sustainable economic system, whereby we have to more strongly promote ecological economics. And at the same time, of course, not looking backwards or being afraid that, you know, there needs to be less quality of life. But we can use all the opportunities that are around the world available, because there are ample technologies available. There are very good policies, sustainable policies available, be it the massive upgrading of renewable energy, energy efficiency, sustainable transport policy, sustainable agriculture and fishery policies. We just have to learn from country to country the wisdom about the best policies that we have and shaping up the global rules as we are preparing for this very important Copenhagen summit, and also finalizing and shaping up towards a new sustainable economic system. So let's really build up on the solutions that are already there and learning from each other, rather than being negative about it.
Thank you very much. I'm afraid that we've now passed our time. And, well, there are a couple of people here, but I think we better stick to the schedule here. I don't know what else is going to follow. I just want to thank the members of the panel for putting up with me. Thank you for your input, and thanks to the audience.
Thank you, David.